ask what this is, tell them this is what the true black image is. One life collective, no black nemesis. One fight, protection of the black premises. This is black privilege. When they ask what this is, tell them.
Welcome to the Black Privilege Podcast.
Welcome to a new edition. Yo, we might as well just keep it rolling. Yo. Welcome to a new edition of the Black Privilege Podcast. I got my co-stars acting real crazy right now, but we appreciate you all for tuning in. My name is Michael Coe. To my left, we got
Matt.
That's so dry. All right, to his left, we got
Amari. What's up with y'all?
Thank you for the character. And then we got the video guy, the guy behind the lenses, my man's Danny Baez. Say what up.
Don't forget that audio too, that crispy audio.
Yo, what you say?
That?
He's
That's what I'm talking about. You see the intro you just gave them? Why you ain't give me an intro like that?
You know
you just
what,
said
bro?
to the guy to the
you
left.
gave him the same energy
Well,
he gave you.
Yeah.
You know what, bro? Listen.
Okay.
I do my best, man. First of all, y'all started off laughing, so y'all threw me off. Anyway, we're going to continue to keep it rolling. Wait, hold on. Before we continue, we're going to put a nice little plug in for Asim Amari. Is it your 1 year anniversary?
Yeah, today makes my 1 year anniversary. Today, a year ago, January 22nd, I released my brand, Asim Amari, which stands for Protector of Love. It's a mental health brand that I created in honor of my younger brother who passed in 2018. So I just wanted to, spread the light. And today, I just decided to just show my appreciation for those people that have supported me along the way, whether it's a post, a like, a share, purchase, anything. I appreciate y'all, but yeah, happy 1 year.
Yeah, make sure y'all cop that merch. Yo, can we give a round of applause? Round of applause. Congratulations, man.
Congrats.
I appreciate y'all.
You know, and may your business and honor your brother continue to flourish.
Mm-hmm.
May God, I don't even know. They say something in church where they like the wings or something like that. I don't know. You know, they like make God something. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on. All right, so I don't know how many of y'all have seen House Party 1. Y'all have seen that?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Classic.
So I always remember the one episode at the end of the movie. So like Kid and Play, they sneak out, they do the house party, whatnot. And Kid pretty much lied to his dad, snuck out the crib, and he sneaks back into his room, and he think he's solid. Like he get in the bed, put the sheets over, and he about to go to sleep. All of a sudden, his dad kicked down the door with his belt. He said, "Don't get in the bed too soon." He took his belt. He's like, "Cause that ass is mine."
Mm-hmm.
And all you can hear is through the credits is Kid get his ass beat. Like the whole credits, that shit just had me cracking up. And I know the only reason why I thought about that is because I know me and Matt had this whole conversation about what it's like to like be parented and like whether we agree with spankings. And then it turned into a whole conversation about like whole family dynamics. So we kind of just wanted to bring that conversation to light here. And I think it's a really interesting conversation because as millennials, Gen Xers, I think that we're starting to push the envelope and kind of pivot away from the way that like we were raised, and we're starting to change things in terms of like how we go about our lives, like whether it be, career wise, but specifically with parenting and the whole family dynamics. I wanted to, use this space to kind of talk about that because I'm interested to see once our audience hears this, what they have to say about that, and hopefully we get some really dope feedback. So I got some note cards that I took down, and I'm gonna start with this question. And based on the example I gave from House Party, do you think, and we can just let this all like just flow, has parenting with punishment? So whether that like I don't know about y'all, but whether you got Matt's my brother, so me and him got our ass beat. We got beat with a house shoe. We got beat with the belt, like everything. But do you think parenting with punishment work for you? And if so, like, how did that work for you? What is your whole opinion on that? Like spankings and all that stuff.
I guess I'll go first. For me, I was definitely beat. But I mean, it wasn't anything. It wasn't anything that was like excessive. But I was definitely like disciplined. I feel like sometimes you hear stories about people being abused, and that definitely wasn't my case. So I mean, in certain cases, you may need a little spanking here and there. You know what I mean, to get your act together. But I feel like as we grow and people kind of get out of that slavery mentality of what I mean, just whoopings and just that whole mindset, I feel like what I mean, there's a way to talk and to avoid just the excessive.
I'm gonna ask you this: are you for or against whooping your kid's ass? And if you are, why? But or like, is there a time where you feel like it should stop, or do you think you would treat like your kids based on whether they're if you have a son or a daughter, would that be different? Like, what's your stance on it? Are you for it or are you against it?
I would say, I mean, now being open minded, I would say for my kids, I would probably be more so against it. Just so because I feel like there's other ways that you can kind of get past certain issues, whether they're acting up in school or just different things like that. Like you can talk to them, get them in counseling, different things like that. So,
Or
yeah.
how about you, Matt? Because I know you got more of a cynical.
I mean, so you said the question is, would I beat them? Yeah. To what age? Probably I would say like 3, 4. Because I feel like there should only be one spanking that has to happen.
Ever in their
Ever.
entire life.
Like, because if they understand, like that you mean business type, they'll listen, like, but I feel like some people, like if you beating them, it's pointless.
Okay. All right. That's interesting.
So I would just, myself, I'm going to beat them one time when they, like get out of line. And then after that, they'll know not to do whatever. So a beating's not going to be necessary.
So, all right. So, is this like a reaction to how you were brought up? Like, is it because you got your ass beat? It's like something like you don't want to do, like to your kids? Like, is that like a? Is that like
I don't think that. Yeah, I think that there's no benefit in really like beating a kid. Some people beat their kids and don't even explain why they beating them. They might say, "Oh, it's gonna hurt me more than it hurts you."
Yo,
like or something.
why do parents say that shit? That shit me. Yo, I'm to this day I don't even know what
or
that
do
means.
you want me to give you something to cry about? Like, that doesn't
Yeah,
make sense.
yeah. Like, I've never understood that. I never understood that. I remember like, and Matt probably remember this. I remember my cousin Jordan once she told me she was like, "Yo, if you don't show no fear or no pain if your parents beat you, they'll stop." That was the worst advice. That was the worst advice I ever got. I swear to you. I never forget. Like,
I'm angry.
yo, yo, I never forget. My mom was like, I forget what I did. She got mad and she was like, she was about to, she got the belt and whatnot. And I knew it was bad because she went into my dad's room and got my dad's belt. My dad got them thick leather joints. And so she, she's spanking me. I'm not saying nothing. I'm just taking it. She was like, "Oh." I'm not gonna go into detail about what happened after that. All I know is I ain't never did that again. I swear. I think I got a beating maybe 3 more times, but I remember I'll never forget. After that beating, I remember I got in trouble one more time, bro. I cried. I fake cried the whole time.
Nah, this dude would
It
jump
is so quick.
He would
It-
jump and holler before he even got hit. After that point, like like parents just
You gotta
saying,
put on a
"Yo,
show,
what
bro."
did what did you do in school today?" He crying already, like. But
What you trying to say?
yeah,
You
no,
trying to say?
I'm just trying to say, like, I mean, you can take that in the spin of like it basically it changed the way that you thought about things.
Yeah.
It could affect, like not even knowing about it or knowing of it, it could have affected you like in the mental space.
Mm-hmm.
So,
No, I hear you. I hear you.
Like,
Well, for me, I think this whole thing about like parenting, especially using like punishment, like physical punishment, is so nuanced. It's so complicated. In my opinion, I think it's
how do you feel, Danny? How you feel about it?
Are you asking like if I would?
Yeah.
I think it depends on the severity of the action.
That's a good point. I think that like
So do you think so you think there is like benefit in beating a kid?
Is there benefit necessarily? Probably not. But will I feel satisfied?
hey, I think all right. My whole thing is this. I'm not a big supporter of like whipping your kids, in my personal opinion.
Mm.
I think my whole opinion about it is one, you got to show your kid that there are consequences to their actions. Because as they get older, like that's what the world is going to teach them. Like if you go out and steal and you get caught by the police, you're going to get arrested. You know, if you know you do something dumb like if you smoke marijuana and it's illegal to smoke while you're in your car and you get pulled over, you're going to get a ticket. Like for every action there's a consequence.
But
So that's just but that's just my opinion. But I think in my personal opinion, I think it can be effective up until a certain point. I think you have to just like use judgment. I don't think every single time your kid messes up, like there needs to be that. I think you can talk sternly to your kid, and if you really develop a relationship with your kid, I think that they in my hope is when I have kids that they will honor me, and I've developed that relationship so much that they don't want to disappoint me. If that makes sense, does that make sense? Or
it kind of correlates to beatings and the way I look at it, right? It's something called PTSS, which is called post traumatic slave syndrome, right? And it's a condition that exists as a consequence of centuries of chattel slavery, followed by institutionalized racism, and oppression, um, and it has resulted in multi-generational adaptive behavior. And basically, like continuing to read after that, like I'm kind of like thinking as slavery, the aspect of the slaves would get beat, right, to you beating a kid, right? And like we might not think, like is the same severity,
mm-hmm.
but I think it kind of can be. Like if you think about, because I don't really think too many kids that were slaves got even beat. Maybe when they got to a certain age, they got beat, but I'm not 100% sure, you
Mhm.
know. But I don't, you don't see in stories, slave kids getting beat. You see older, maybe somebody who tried to run away or so if you're starting at that age, like just think about how, you know, different you can basically alter a kid's mindset.
Mm-hmm. Well, I got a stat since you're pulling out fancy definitions. So this is research that I put together in a very brief amount of time from the Brookings Institute, and it says that, and this might actually go to your point. It says that the study that was done by them says children spanked frequently and or severely are at higher risk of mental health problems, ranging from anxiety and depression to alcohol and drug abuse. And this may also develop into a more distant parent-child relationship as that child grows older. What are what are y'all takes on that? What's your reaction to that? You think that's accurate? Like,
I mean, I think so.
mm, based on your personal experience, what about you, Amar?
Yeah, I think so. I would agree.
Mm,
I mean, personal experience and just also what I read, like
mm.
where the research, when you start to, want to learn stuff about, to help yourself, like you start looking at other things.
It does seem like our generation is kind of moving away from more of, I guess, if you want to call it quote unquote, like conservative traditional ways of parenting.
Soft parenting.
Yeah, like we're moving, like, yeah, moving towards that.
So what is considered soft parenting?
I mean, in my opinion, this is how I thought it was. Like, I could be wrong. That it's like rather than using physical force, like you might take something away from them, or it's more so like you're having like in-depth conversations about like how what you expect in terms of their behavior, rather than trying to change who they are. Like that's my take on it. The point you made though about the post-traumatic, like, yeah, I guess like I've been scared shitless by my parents. Like I remember I used to dread. Like I remember me and Matt, we used to go at it in Walmart, TJ Maxx. Like we could be good one second, then all of a sudden I'll never forget we was in Macy's, And out of nowhere, this nigga just straight punched me in the stomach and ran away. And I was so mad. And
Who,
then
Matt?
yeah.
Why would you do that?
Nah. It was more. It was more.
Leaving out
Okay.
details.
Yeah, he leaving out details.
What details did I leave out?
All right, so this is this is back when you had the MP3 player and I actually had like 2 of them, right? And I gave my brother one. Mike still to this day doesn't keep anything charged. His phone's always dead, whatever, right? So of course, me on the other hand, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna charge my thing up. So right, his dies on the way to the mall before we even make it to the mall, right? So he's like, all right, Matt, like, can I use yours? Me being a nice brother. I was like, yeah, you can do for 2 songs, right? So, of course, 2 turned into 4, right? And then I asked for my MP3 player back, and he didn't want to give it back. So then,
You
had to
socked
do.
him. All
Shit, that's crazy, right?
That's what I had to do, so.
right, press on though.
Anyway, the point of the story was me and my brother used to get into it a lot when we would go out with my mom. And so she would either pinch us and sometimes I would get us together. But the thing she would tell us is, I'm going to get y'all when I get home.
Mhm.
And that drive home, I think, is worse than the actual beating itself, in my opinion. Because
The
the
anticipation.
car,
Yeah.
the anticipation, you get in the car, you sit, it's quiet the whole ride.
And don't try to go to sleep.
Don't
Don't act like she forgot.
Mm-hmm. Yo, the
you
whole
gonna get it.
time you just hope that she too tired, she changed her mind, or it go by quick. And the worst is when you the last one to go. Like, if Matt used to go before me, I used to be like, oh my God. Like, I used to hate that.
Yeah, I used to get beat first, like about 75% of the time, because it was always the one who was the worst that got beat
Yeah,
first.
Matt was bad.
Mm.
Matt was bad. Well, he was a good kid. He was just rebellious. I guess that's like the younger child syndrome.
And that's brought me back to your point, man. We said like 3 or 4 that you would stop,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
But like when kids get older, they just get worse. Like
Yeah,
so, like
that's why it's so tricky. It's like so
But-
much of a gray
but
area.
My whole plan is to beat him one time. You feel me? Yeah. Like I mean I had a little practice with Kai, so I hit her one time, and after that, there's been no problems. Like if I tell her to stop doing something, she stops.
Well, it was like a little tap on her.
I mean a firm, aggressive, one time on the on the hiney,
On the booty.
on the booty, and that was it.
That's
know?
funny.
After that, she was good.
Well, I have one more.
but she's still gonna be a rebellious ass teenager though.
Well, I
Yeah,
mean,
but
with
that's- when they get
but
older,
not
they-
with me though.
Well, all right. So
Okay.
wait, I got one. All right, say, and this is all hypothetical, obviously.
Mm.
We don't have male children right now, and luckily we're all young. We're in our prime. All right, say right. Let's say like
I'm not in my prime yet.
all right, whatever. All right, let's say 20 years from now, right? You got a son. He's 16, 17 years old, and he stepped to you. Like he tried you. He want to test his manhood against you.
Mhm.
What you gonna do?
I mean, that's a whole different situation.
What you gonna do?
It's just gonna be one hit. That's it.
What, it's
it
a
ain't
one
no
knock and
whooping.
drop.
Put the
Yeah.
boxing gloves on.
Yeah, that's
so the cap ain't at 3 or 4 then.
Yeah, that's
Well, I mean-
my nigga. That's what I'm saying. Like
But
you ain't talk. You are
that's
not
a whole,
talking
That's
to
a
him.
whole
Alternative.
different.
You are not
That's
talking
a
to
whole
him.
different scenario, though. You feel me? Like he's stepping to me at 18. You feel me?
Mhm.
He a grown man at
Well,
this point.
Well, 16, 17 and 18 technically
16,
ain't no
17.
grown man because they still living in your
I'ma
house.
just like either put on the gloves.
Put on the gloves. I
Or-
feel like that's the.
If you think you can, we gonna see, and then and then we go back.
Word. Okay, but see, that's what I mean, though.
What if your son give you hands? Then what?
Yo, what if your son trashed you, bro?
That would never happen though.
Bro, what if your son trashed you, bro? You wouldn't even speak about it. There's no way you could say that. You could tell a soul. But, yo,
Nah, yeah.
that
I
would be
mean,
kinda
but I
crazy.
mean, at that point, like I don't know.
well, anyway,
I'll call y'all and be like, "Yo, what should I do?" Like my son, like
if you tell me that, bro, I'ma just hang up. I'ma just hang up and I'ma just come there and then me and you gonna have to jump him. Like, honestly, that's just what's gotta
Uncle
happen.
Uncle Mike gonna get touched up too.
Nah.
He gonna come and punch you right in your chest.
Yo,
What you gonna
relax.
do? What you gonna do?
Yo, I'm gonna grab a bag.
Then Mike gonna have to yo Mark.
Yeah, hey, what I'm gonna do?
He gonna get, Mark.
We gonna have to call Diamond.
Yeah.
He gonna beat the whole family up. Nah, then we gonna have to really find something.
Nah. We gotta relax on that now. First of all,
Exactly.
it shouldn't stop past Matt. If it does,
Yeah.
but that would be funny though.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna read this real quick. I'm gonna give y'all a stat for your ass. All right, I did my research. All right, so it says a study by the University of Minnesota by the Journal of American Medical Association says that millennials and Gen Xers are less likely to spank. And this is a study that was conducted between 1993 and 2017, but published in 2020. It says men who use spankings as a way of punishment, they said that, like those who said they did, fell from 52% of men to 36%, and for women, 48% to 35%. So it sounds like, we not with the shits. Like, that's what it sounds like. Would y'all agree?
I think yes and no.
Mm.
Right? Because I feel like some parents they don't have the time to. Like by the time they work 3 jobs,
Mm-hmm.
like they don't got the energy to whip this kid's ass.
Mhm.
And be like, yo, I'll get him tomorrow. And then tomorrow might, ever come. So
Well, I like that. Like, and that's actually, I'm glad you said that. Did you want to add something?
No, that's a good point.
I like that because I feel like we can kind of pivot then, because like what you're talking about is like sincerely like something that's going on in a lot of homes where like if you don't have the time, usually that means that if you're working 2-3 jobs, that's usually means you're usually a single parent. That's usually where we mostly see stuff like that happen.
Mhm.
So with that being said,
well, I mean, bro.
well, not I mean I'm not saying
Not
it's
just
all one size fits all.
not just single families, because like the cost of living nowadays.
Mhm.
Like if you look right, the average like in New Jersey, like the average amount that you have to make to live comfortably with one kid
Mhm.
is like 60,000.
Mhm.
Like that's crazy. Like so some people in one job don't make that.
Mhm.
Like so they got to make 2, and then if there's 3 people in your family, you got to think, or 2. If you got 2 kids, how many jobs?
Mhm. Well, like kind of looking at like pop culture, kind of what's been going on in like today, like we see a lot of, I mean, it's in the music, it's in hip hop culture, everything. Like we do see like obviously like sex, drugs, alcohol, all this stuff being pushed. But we also see, because hip hop is such a huge like phenomena, that like we see like, celebrities who father a bunch of kids. They got a whole bunch of different baby mothers, things of that nature, and that might not necessarily be the best images that we want to see, like on screen, that reflects what the Black diaspora looks like. Not to say that you know overall we don't have like solid families in our communities, but I guess what I wanted to ask y'all reaction is like, how do y'all feel about that? Because I feel like nowadays we are seeing less and less people getting married, like, but they have kids. And then, we see a whole bunch of broken families. Like, you see a lot of single women, men not necessarily present. So, what if y'all like noticed about that or picked up? And then, like, how do you think like we can kind of switch that and change that? And if you need me to go into more detail, I can explain. But I just wanted to get y'all reaction about that.
I mean, it's media.
Mhm.
Media, like so, media is not going to, all the time, depending on the source, is not going to glorify, what the normal, family should look like. But then you got to think about what is the normal family.
And then you got anything on this?
As far as like media, I think it's like, I just think there needs to be more stories presented from a realer place. Like
Mhm.
we need to tell more stories about today's family, whether it be broken or not, and either like whatever's real. Like if they did spankings, we need to show that, and we need to show it not necessarily as a con all the time, because sometimes I genuinely believe like sometimes it's not really a con. Sometimes they just need a spanking. Like you just
Mhm.
need to spank your kids, and not that you should be showing that all the time in media, but you
Be
can't
real.
be showing
It's
like
authentic.
yeah.
Mhm.
So that's a great point right there, right? So What do you guys think about, right? The saying like whatever's happens in my house stays in my house, or whatever is said at the table stays at the table, like in regards to the black family. Like, do you think like that is a problem?
I mean, that's my mom's favorite line.
That's a great question. Genuinely, I think that there are certain things within your household that you share with your family because it's a safe place. And at least your family should, your family should be a safe place for you to share certain things. So yeah, in one regard, yes, what's said in the house should remain in the house. Like things that I'm coming to my family about in confidence, like I'm expecting my siblings, my parents, whoever's in that household to like be a safe space for me. Now, I feel like there's also another side to it that maybe you might be hinting at, and that's that there are a lot of things that go on in black families that aren't right. Like there are a lot of things like that people have experienced in terms of like trauma from like aunts and uncles. You hear stories all the time about stuff like that, and people don't want to talk about it. They just like brush it under the rug, and rather than bringing it to the forefront and discussing it and acknowledging for what it is, and either getting help or someone being approached by it and being forced to be accountable for their actions and apologizing and changing their behavior. So
I feel like a lot of it too has to do with like the whole thing of like staying in a child's place too, because it's like, okay, well, you told me to do this, but I feel a certain way about it, but because I'm still a child, I can't say anything, or you know what I mean? I feel
Or
like
whatever your voice isn't like taken serious.
word.
Well, I think, well, to your point, and what Matt's doing, I think the way that we can change that though is to empower. Like when I have kids, I'm gonna empower them.
Word.
It's not that they'll be disrespectful to me, but I want them to think
have a
freely.
voice.
Just because they're kids doesn't mean that they don't think about the world or that they don't understand like complex concepts and ideas, or that they can't think critically.
Or just say something
Yeah,
that
or
has substance.
simply express how they feel.
Because I mean, like they say, like I was reading, I forget if it was the Black Pain book or not, but they were saying that a lot of the times, parents say, like their kids don't have any feelings, like, or they're not old enough to, feel this or feel that, or go through this or go through that. But I feel like they are old enough. Like if a kid can talk and say yes, comprehend, they have some type of feelings, whether it's, they understand everything or not, they have feelings.
Well, I think, and this is actually a good transition as well. So if you kind of take your personal experiences, all of us, if we all were to take our personal experiences and what we've gone through, and obviously none of us are married right now, but am I correct in saying that all of us would one day either like to be married or at least have a family?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So based on your personal experiences and how you were brought up, what do you envision, or what would you want your family to look like? And look like might not be the best word, but like
Function.
like how would you want it to function? What's the kind of vibe? What kind of energy do you want to create in your household on a day to day for you, your spouse, for your kids, and for you, period. In order for your family to thrive and be everybody can be the best that they can be within your household. What do you envision?
And definitely like frequent, like open conversations where we can just be honest and even if it's like monthly, it doesn't have to be something we do every week, but that way we know like, okay, this is bothering me, and the family has agreed on a safe space to come and hash these issues out, you know what I mean, without judgment. So I feel like that would definitely be something that I would like want to implement in my family.
So like more so just like openness, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, just like being open with like conversation and like just different things outside of the day to day. Because I know a lot of times people have like issues that they don't really speak on, and they just let it build up and build up and build up until they, you know what I mean, lash out maybe in a negative way or something, you know what I mean, that could harm somebody. So I feel like as long as you understand like, okay, we're gonna have this discussion and we'll be able to,
And what if like, and this is just a follow up, what if like there's an instance, and you can't answer this because but what if your kid came to you, or you came to your kid and you ask them about something, but they said, Dad, you wouldn't understand. So, they don't want to talk to you about it. Like,
Mhm.
how would you
Address
deal
it.
with that? How do you think you would deal with that?
Probably try to present some like alternatives. Maybe it's like a journal. So like if you don't have to tell me, but at least find a way to kind of get it out,
Mm-hmm.
or see if we can set them up with like some type of therapy, or maybe even a professional, of course. But then you can also, there may be a family member that they're closer to that they, can be open with if they don't want to express it.
Nah, I like that answer. What about you, Matt? What would you like? What kind of household would you like to create?
I would pretty much want to have an environment where, like Amari said, there's communication. I understand that like your kid ain't gonna tell you every single thing. Like, and to think, like they will, you'll be stupid. You know what I mean? Like, so I understand that they're not gonna tell me everything, but be open enough to be able to share. I feel like I would still have that, I'm dad and you're
Mm-hmm.
my son. But as far as like spending time, like I would make sure that I'm spending time with my kid, whether it's a boy or girl or whatever. Like make sure, because I understand that time is like the most important thing that it doesn't. I think that's the most important thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
honestly, like over being able to get this or that, because there's always gonna be a newer bike or newer game or whatever. But the moments that you can create, like you're not gonna ever, like you can never really pay for that. So
I felt
yeah, I
that
just
though.
like I just want that type of open door policy, and I'm gonna when I have a family, I want to be able like to travel, like at least do something, like once a year. And I mean that's one good thing about mom, like she made sure that like we went away somewhere, like at
Mm-hmm.
least once a year,
Mm-hmm.
as a family, like going to Canada with Danny. I still
Oh
remember
yeah, I
that.
remember that.
When he
Yo, when he,
walked up
oh
18
yeah,
flights of
yo,
stairs.
Danny used to be, so Danny used to be afraid of elevators.
Shut up, nigga.
Yo, we couldn't find Danny, and I forget what floor we were like at a high floor.
I was on the 70th floor.
We were on the elevator.
This
We thought Danny was on the elevator with us, but it was a lot of people. This dude
got
got
off
off
and
walked.
walked. My dad could not find, mind you, like, that's not my dad's kid. He taking care
Right.
of somebody. My dad was furious. He wanted to whoop Danny's ass
Yeah,
that
he probably
day.
should have.
But he
Yeah.
couldn't.
You probably should have.
That was funny. But Matt, nah, I really I dig what you said. I'm gonna toss it over to you, Danny, and I'll finish up.
I think my main thing is I would pray that I would be in a position where I'm not always correcting, where I'm approving and I'm rewarding more than like, oh, don't do this, don't do that, shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I would just pray that, but that's on me though. I have to make sure that I'm teaching or that I'm not, we're gonna make mistakes, obviously, but that's my biggest thing. Is like I don't want to be like a figure.
dictator.
I don't want to be your
tyrant.
best friend. I'm
Yeah.
not your friend,
That
but I'm
healthy
definitely.
balance.
I don't want to be a disciplinarian. Like as soon as you get in the house, like I would hope that I would be like loving and understanding, and then that they would know how to just act. But that's on me to teach.
Yeah.
The show.
To
Yeah, I
show.
mean, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mhm.
Even better. Yeah.
I like that, Danny. I like that a lot. I think for me, I want to have fun. Like I want my household to just be fun. I want my kids to come in and for it to feel like a home. Like they can come home and just be whoever they are. When they leave, if they go to school or whatever, but when they come home, like I wanted them to be their like authentic self. Like that's the kind of home I want to create. I also think like one thing that I think was kind of lacking in my house, no shade to my parents at all, but like I want to do more of leading by example, like practicing like what you preach. I don't want to tell my kids like, yo, this is what you need to do, but then they see me doing something else, because I think that kind of causes your children kind of question like, whoa, what kind of parent do I have? And not to say we're not perfect, but I think that we can strive to be and do the best that we can. But I like what you said though. I don't want to be all, like a dictator in my own home. I want everybody to just get along, everybody love, and life is important. It's good for you to achieve and do well, but like we don't have to take life so serious, if that makes sense. Makes sense.
Yep.
Well, we're gonna finish off by saying that we appreciate you all for tuning in. I hope that what we had to say in the discussion that we had was able to inspire, make you think a little bit, and hopefully it's a conversation that you all have with your family and your loved ones, your friends. And be sure to, just share this content when you have an opportunity. We appreciate you. We love you. And we're out. This is the Black Privilege Podcast. This is Michael.
This is Matt.
Amari.
And we got the video god.
True.
Peace.
True.